Hey, it's Frank. I'm back for another episode of Midnight Snack. So glad you joined us. Midnight Snack, it's where I sit down with leaders in the Nashville area or somewhere around the country that I want to get to know better, and I also want to know what is their midnight snack. And today we have Amy Ware. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I am very glad that you're here too.
Great.
And I'm going to here's what I've done, Amy. I have a bio for you.
Okay.
I didn't ask you for one because I wanted you to know if someone was to look up Amy Ware on the internet, what it was going to say.
Okay.
And then it's your opportunity to correct it if we need to correct it. Okay.
Yeah.
It says Amy Ware with a lot of initials behind your name.
Okay.
MHA, which stands for?
Masters of Healthcare Administration.
Masters of Healthcare Administration. MED.
Mm-hmm. Masters of Education.
Masters of Education. Mm-hmm. And FACHE.
I'm a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives.
How about that, folks? Look at who we have here with us today. And it's Nashville, Tennessee. Probably one of the healthcare, if not the healthcare hub of the United States.
Yeah,
so I'm going to read what it says. Amy Ware serves as a regional vice president of oncology at the Sarah Canna Cancer Network within HCA Healthcare's TriStar division, overseeing oncology initiatives across Tennessee and Kentucky.
So that was my previous role.
Previous role.
Yep.
Okay, so we're correcting the internet, but previous role, VP of Oncology for the Sarah Canna Cancer Network within HCA's. Okay, based in Nashville, Amy has been recognized for her leadership in patient-centered cancer care, survivorship programs, and collaborative healthcare strategy. She was promoted to her leadership role in 2024 after previously serving as Associate Regional Vice President of Oncology, which is all true. Amy holds an advanced degrees in healthcare administration and education and is a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives, which we covered just a second ago. Publicly available profiles and speaking engagements also highlight her passion for compassionate leadership, emotional wellness, and mental health awareness. Originally from Ohio, Amy relocated to Tennessee to help lead oncology initiatives within one of the nation's largest healthcare systems.
I hope AI wrote that, but that was pretty good. I mean, overall, it's spot on.
Pretty spot on. Well, it's impressive.
Well, thank you.
And it brings a little bit of credibility to you honoring me of being here. Like makes me feel a little bit more credible to have someone of your stature to join us.
I don't feel like a stature, but I definitely am thankful that I get to actually talk about some of the work that we've been doing or have, that I've been involved in, and then get to learn a little bit about you too. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, here's something that we'll get right off the bat. I have some questions here, but Midnight Snack. We will ask people in the industry and business development, we'll say, hey, what keeps you up at night? But I thought, what keeps you up at night? And when you're up, what do you go grab sometimes as kind of a guilty midnight snack? And you shared with me, you can share with us, what did you say?
Vanilla wafers and peanut butter.
Vanilla wafers and peanut butter.
Odd to me.
It's
so crazy. I never was a midnight snacker.
But this is one that's more frequent lately?
The story behind it is my mom used to eat that growing up, and it drove me crazy. So she would have like a big box of vanilla wafers and then peanut butter, and she would just dip it and eat it. And I was like, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to get up in the middle of the night and have midnight snacks. And all of a sudden I turned 40 and I'm like, where's the vanilla wafers and the peanut butter? And I'm like, going through the cabinets. I love that the Nabisco decided to just call it Nilla. I don't know if is it vanilla or Nilla? It is Nilla Wafers, I think.
This is
right?
Nilla Wafers,
yeah,
but you can find the off-brand that says vanilla.
Oh, okay.
And then we have, I don't know what your go-to.
I'm a little snob on the Nilla and Jif, so I'll take that. That's good.
Is your go-to Jif?
Yes, it is actually.
Here's my favorite thing about opening a new thing of peanut butter is that right there.
I know. It's just clear.
I mean, I would just keep buying jars just for that experience.
Well, I have a 10-year-old at home who just likes to get in there with the spoon, so it's never smooth. I never get the first bite, so this is kind of exciting.
You're about to get that.
Oh, I'm going to have some now. We're having some.
Oh yeah, we're going to have it now. That's what we do.
Reminds me so much of my mom and growing up. I mean, I'm usually not a snacker, but lately I get up in the middle of the night and I just got to have a bite.
We are going to fumble just a little bit to get this done. What's mine? Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something. When you gave me this suggestion, I actually also growing up did Nilla Wafers and peanut butter.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
I knew.
But I'm going to take it a step further. Here, I'll tell you the story while you dig in. You can dip it right in the peanut butter, and you can pick up the jar, take it.
Just a little bit.
I took it even a step further growing up, getting in the pantry. And we have learned, because we've had peanut butter on here before, there's some water there or coffee, whatever you want to wash down the peanut butter. I took it a step further. I'd go in the pantry, get the Nilla Wafers, and my mom would have icing, like from a cake,
Oh my gosh, I was just going to say something
like
about
a
icing.
red icing, and I would squirt it onto the Nilla Wafer. Talk about a sugar overdose. But even today,
I was going to say
I'll confess to my wife, who's watching and also happens to be in the room helping me produce this, I have maybe sometimes bought that and eaten it. But she knows that. She's seen it. What are you doing? What are
Have you
doing?
ever had graham crackers and then you put vanilla icing in the middle and then you make like a little sandwich of graham crackers, put it in the freezer? That's also a fantastic midnight snack.
I'm
I'm obsessed with that. It's so good. It's not good for you. I feel like I could compromise here. There's a little bit of protein, some carbs, can maybe make it work, but
This is actually very
icing's pretty
good, but it is going to be hard for me to talk for just a second.
it's okay.
But take a break, and then
Thank you
when,
for
when I
having
get
that.
into another story, then you can have another bite. So you talked about your previous role leading oncology practice, but you've only been in Nashville for a short time, right?
Yeah.
Relatively short.
Yeah.
How many years?
Gosh, we're coming up on 3. It feels like 1. You know, the first
Yeah.
year is really how do I get to the grocery store? Where do I, my kids in school? Where are the friends? What do we? How do we navigate this new environment? And it was a hard move for me actually.
was?
I had a harder time than I think a lot of people that just move to new cities. Some jobs they relocate frequently. Mine was hard. I didn't know a single person. We had no family to have any emergency contacts. My boss was my emergency contact for my kid
wow.
at school. So it's kind of one of those things where you're just building a community, and it took a little bit of time. So I'd say the first year felt a little bit like survival. You move into like surviving and then thriving. I think we're just now getting to this point where Nashville feels more like home.
Good.
It just takes time to really build that community.
And where were you from before?
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, so I grew up about an hour north of Columbus with my mom, single mom. And then when I was in college, I moved to Columbus, the actual big city of Columbus. And I felt so cool, being in the big city. I thought I was a big city girl.
Uh-huh.
And then, 3 years ago here. And so a lot of transitions over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
But
well,
I do love Nashville.
I didn't mention when we talked, when we've introduced you, we met peripherally through one of my coworkers with
Yeah.
TMG, who produces Midnight Snack, TMG, the McCracken Group. We help companies navigate technology chaos. One of my coworkers, you actually know through her family.
Correct,
Out of
yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah, I worked for her dad, actually.
Okay.
He was the CEO at the James Cancer Hospital, and I was there for several years, served as his senior advisor, and I just love them so much. He's just such a wonderful human. But yeah, her dad was a really well-known, or is a really well-known surgical oncologist. So
Okay.
treated cancer patients for 44 years, and I had the pleasure of knowing him and their whole family. So that's a
great.
nice connection.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it all comes back full circle.
So you're in Nashville now, and you said it's starting to feel like home. Based on what you may, being in Ohio, I guess for most of your life, coming to Nashville, was there a moment when you're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, or hey, yeah, I'm definitely in Nashville? Can you think of anything
Yeah,
that would
probably
be
like every day. There's a little bit of a mix. I think when you get here, it's not all Broadway, right? But Broadway is fun. I'll go out on Broadway if somebody wants to go out on Broadway, but it's the idea of like Nashville's this huge party town, but there's so much talent here, and just the people are incredible. You're either in music or you're in healthcare, or IT. As you go further out from the city, it's so beautiful. Like the rolling hills and the culture, and the people are so nice. I think that was surprising, just knowing Nashville feels like a smaller community, but just the people are so incredible and welcoming. But it was every single day, like, what in the world is going on? The celebrity thing really is wild to me. That was probably
what
one of the
what would be
biggest.
one of the ones that happened if
Oh my gosh, I see everybody all the time. I see Carrie Underwood all the time. I see folks just out and about constantly, which they're just people, But when I was growing up, those are people that existed on the TV. They weren't like real people.
Right.
It was somebody
Right.
like maybe that lived in another country. I would never be in the same room, but just to be at the same, church or same store or same. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's I don't know. I'm still not used to that yet.
Yeah, that is kind of been fun. I've been in Nashville for almost 40 years and have run into different people around. But when I see someone in Nashville that you would expect to see in California,
Right.
and you're like, what, did I just see that
Yes.
here? It's been really neat. And I was I'll tell this funny story. I was at a business lunch, walked outside, and Luke Bryan turns to come into the restaurant. And he's just standing there by himself. But I'm thinking, as Luke Bryan, you know, everybody recognizes you.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not going to look and see the only person there and not say something. And I have a friend who actually is friends with him that goes way back in the music industry. And I just looked right at him and I said, well, there he is. Because you have to
What
say
else
something.
are you going to say? Yeah. Hi.
And he's like, hey. And then I told him that we had a mutual friend, and it is a good friend of his. So it did work out fine to have a quick conversation. But it is a lot of fun to have that happen.
The only person I haven't seen yet is Dolly, and I'm really trying hard. Like, I got to figure out how to see her in person. That's the only one
I want to get to some oncology and some leadership questions, but I have to tell you about Dolly. We live, and I kind of, in our phone conversations, I kind of know the neighborhood that you're in.
Okay.
We're not far from her house.
we're very close. We drive by all the time.
Okay,
and you
good.
can tell when she's home because the security's outside.
That's exactly what I was about to tell you.
I know you're there. You know, this is an embarrassing thing, but I give her a Christmas card every year with our family picture on it, put it in her mailbox. I'm just hoping. Just hoping for like a, hey, Amy, like, stop writing me, like, stop sending Christmas cards, but not today. I'm going to do it every year.
I love it because I did pick up on the fact when you see a security car,
She's there.
you know, she's there.
Yes.
And it's not a big over the top. It's just right on nobody's stopping and talking at the window. It's just right there.
I thought about asking her if she needed some help with her Christmas lights because it's Dolly Parton. So, like, when you drive down the street, the lights should be like massive, right? It should be like this whole production, and they're usually not. It's very subtle. So I thought, well, this is going to be the year. I'm just going to put a card in there and say, hey, Dolly, I'm available.
I love it.
I love you so much. Please let me come over to your house.
So to pivot back to, you're in Columbus, you're working for a healthcare organization. Tell me how you got into the oncology practice. Tell me what that kind of looks like. And I don't know hardly anything about it.
Okay.
Other than when one of my sons had to go to an oncologist, it kind of makes you go, oh, this is not fun.
Yeah.
So tell me more about how you got into that and kind of your experience and what led you to HCA.
Well, I actually never wanted to be in oncology. I did everything possible to not work in a hospital. My mom had breast cancer and ovarian cancer when I was really little. So I was raised by a single mom, a really poor community that we were in, government housing. My mom had very little education and also had really horrible health care. And so you experience that as a little kid and you're not sure if she's going to survive. And there's all sorts of surgeries and in the hospital for months on end. And so it was traumatizing, really, to watch her go through that. And so as I grew up, I was absolutely no healthcare, not even a chance. But I was so terrified of the hospital from those experiences that when I got into college, I thought, maybe if I just worked in the emergency room, I could hopefully kind of come over that fear or get over some of the things that were really scary to me. So I worked in the ER for a while, just doing registration, like in the rooms. And that helped, but I still wasn't convinced. I actually went to school to be a teacher, so first grade teacher. After I finished my master's of education and got into the classroom, I just decided that wasn't really where I wanted to be. I always wanted to be like the principal or the superintendent. I had an opportunity at Ohio State to do some research, and so started working in education research. Long path this way. There was a master's of healthcare administration program across the hall, and so pretty much like across the street. And I was like, I wonder if I would be interested, like that would be an interesting career path for me. Wasn't quite sure exactly what to do after teaching. And so ended up getting into the program and moved into strategic planning at Ohio State. And so I was in strategic planning for several years, trying to give you a quick version rundown. So I was in strategic planning for several years.
Just giving me more questions to ask, but go
which
ahead.
I loved, which I think is such a great space to be in healthcare, and really got to know the cancer team. So I helped lead some of the surgical growth planning for Ohio State. And so underneath of that umbrella is the cancer arm. I knew that team very well, and I just loved it. I think it felt like a full circle moment where I was able to help the patients in a different way, help them receive better care than what my mom had received, and maybe make the experience different for kids too, who were, children of those parents, and got to work on some fun projects. I just fell in love. It was the place I was meant to be. And so I fought it for a really long time, but I love oncology. It's so complicated, it's complex, but such a personal tie to it. I mean, every time I see a patient walk in, I think about their entire family. I think about their children. I think about their moms. I mean, there's so many people impacted by that journey, not just the child, the person that has the cancer, whomever it may be. And so, so I've been in cancer for a really long time now, and it's moving at such a fast pace. It's really amazing to see what's actually happened.
In the efforts toward treatment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, and I was going to add another question, but you kind of answered it. It sounds like what drove you early on, without you went and got a degree to teach and you went to the classroom, but it was more of a desire to help others outside of just this clinical experience.
Yeah.
To add a little bit more
absolutely.
personal connection to it. Because you said when a patient comes in, there's more than just a patient. There's all the people connected to them and all the different things. So it sounds like what drove you a little bit was just some compassion for the treatment itself.
It's so hard to go through cancer. I mean, just the journey, depending on the particular treatment type or disease, it's horrific for a lot of people. And, watching my mom experience that, I just have such a level of empathy for those patients that maybe are there by themselves, or just, you don't understand all of the treatment options and the journey so long. Yeah, that's exactly it. Just watching my mom go through that, it's like, okay, I'm going to get up every day and fight that nobody else has to go through something similar to the best of my ability,
My mom was also a breast cancer survivor.
Oh,
Now, when she went through that, and there was a couple of seasons in her life that it came back and she did different treatments, it was in a season of my life when I wasn't as physically, geographically close. So I didn't see a lot of the care that she was going through. But I mean, she survived and came through it and lived to be almost 90 years old. But she was part of that whole process. And that's why it's encouraging to hear how you talk about your sensitivity to that. And can you tell me a little bit more about what your leadership was in the roles that brought you to Nashville? A little bit more of the details of kind of what that looked like, the programs that you put in place.
So when I was at the James, working for Dr. Farr, he was a really busy surgeon. And so he transitioned into this really large CEO role at the time. The cancer hospital was the third largest in the U.S. and very big footprint, research, clinical care. And so I really just supported him in a lot of different ways. So operationally, strategically, things that he needed, really to run the hospital effectively. But there was a whole team around him to help. When he ultimately retired, which I did not think he ever would retire, I ended up leaving the organization. And then here in Nashville was recruited basically to oversee the TriStar Health division. And so fairly large footprint through Tennessee and Kentucky, little southern Kentucky, for all of the hospitals. So it was all coordination of oncology care. We had about 80,000 unique patients per year. I mean, a very busy surgical enterprise. And so my responsibility was to help to coordinate that, all the efforts across all the hospitals in the state, just to make sure patients had the best possible care. We were really large clinical trial footprint too underneath the Sarah Cannon. So got to work with those researchers and bringing new treatments and innovations to the patient side. It was amazing. I loved that role. I love the team. I love oncology, but ultimately stepped away from the role in January to pursue some other things.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is a question because a lot of the people that I'll have and talk about on Midnight Snack, I talk a little bit about technology. So what were you seeing and have seen how AI is being used in care?
Yeah.
Now, I know that in my business, I help clients, healthcare clients, with AI assistance in scheduling, AI assistance in easy communication that doesn't require a person. So have you seen that? And what do you see are some of the benefits, or where you have seen it kind of where it can be going?
Oh my gosh. There's so much that can be done with AI. I don't think anybody is doing it really well yet from an oncology standpoint. I think it's still kind of in episodes of care, or it's maybe capturing clinical notes in the room. We don't have this whole streamline from the beginning of your cancer journey to the end of your cancer journey AI technology yet. I think we're going there where maybe we could, as a patient is sharing their genetic markers, or you have your genetic markers, can track that patient or give them the best possible treatment and then follow them all the way through to survivorship. Right now, what I'm seeing is more in the radiology space. So for example, like lung nodules. So if a patient comes in to the emergency room and gets a CT scan, there might be a nodule within their lung. The AI technology can find stuff that's smaller than we are able to actually see. So can almost go over top of the imaging that a radiologist would have, or the image from a radiologist, and identify those nodules earlier. So you can use AI to help identify particular type of, things that are wrong on a scan. Or you can use AI to help with big data sets, to look at a patient, all the data for a patient, all the pieces of a patient to identify the best treatment option. You can use AI to get patients on clinical trials, the best possible match for a clinical trial.
Right.
Helping doctors, charting notes, capturing conversations in the room. All of those things are helpful and help reduce the error, the human error side. But I don't think we're at a point yet where AI is going to be, they're not going to be delivering care. There's not like a robot delivering care.
No.
I think it's just about making things easier for the providers and the treatment's better for the patients. But right now, there's not like this big, massive AI piece that's really helping
Right.
that I've seen.
It's more about the automation and
Yeah.
gathering data and using the data to make better decisions
Yeah.
more quickly.
Now, I do think the lung cancer piece is really interesting. I mean, that's been fascinating to watch. How can AI technology sit on top of like a CT read or some type of imaging and be able to either, I don't know, identify a nodule sooner or help somebody, a provider, identify whether that's cancerous? That's pretty fascinating to watch. But I think we're still a little bit away from seeing things really evolve.
Well, I'm going to pivot to another topic.
Yeah.
So we are in May. We are in Mental Health Awareness Month. And when we first kind of met, you kind of shared with me, and I learned online too from the internet, your passion for mental health awareness. And I want you to just tell me a little bit more about your passion for that and kind of what you're involved in, and maybe how we can maybe use this episode of Midnight Snack to help other people that might be dealing with mental health issues.
That's really, there's a lot there underneath the May Mental Health Month. I do a lot with mental health, and a lot of it comes down to just the awareness of services that are available for people. And that stems from, one, growing up when we didn't talk about mental health and watching my mom go through a very deep depression during her cancer journey. I have very strong memories of her covering our windows with blankets. She was so depressed and felt like if we had no light in there, it was like nobody could see her going through her cancer journey. And this was after she had had a double mastectomy. But nobody talked about it. There was no conversation around it. It was just, you kind of do your thing and move on, and you just got to suffer. And then when I was 8, my stepbrother took his life, and I was so young, and that was the first person I knew that I was close to that ended his life, and it really just blew up our family.
Yeah.
It was really hard as a kid to watch that. And I had friends over the years that died by suicide as well. And it wasn't really until 2020 when my dad ended his life, died by suicide, that I stepped into the mental health space, because just have to do something. You've got to take action. And I think there's a lot of people, actually no, a lot of people out there suffering from a lot of different things. Actually, there's nobody I've ever met that's not going through something.
Right.
It's just not a lot of people talk about it. And so I had a friend this week share that her dad had also he died by suicide on Sunday. And the weight of that and what that means for her future, for her family, for her life. I mean, it's an unbearable process to go through and have experience. But we need more help for people that are in those situations that maybe don't know who to go to, or don't know who to ask, or don't know how to share, and creating spaces where they feel comfortable saying that I'm not okay. And so really feel passionate about the work that we have still. I serve on the board of the National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Okay.
And participate in all sorts of mental health initiatives to try to raise money and help bring some awareness to the work that we're doing.
So what could be some simple steps that we could do to help others, but also, and you can answer that, but then at the end of that answer, tell us what kind of URL or website we can put up for people to go to, whether for this association that you're a part of, or if it's others that you think would be valuable and easy access.
Gosh, there's so much. I think one, recognizing the signs in yourself first, right? Like being able to take care of yourself. Sometimes people think mental health is this massive, that you have to go on this spiritual journey or a retreat for 4 days somewhere in the wilderness. That's not really it. It's what are the things you're doing each day? You need to get rest. You need to sleep. You need to eat healthy, limit alcohol. Like some of the things that behaviors, patterns that maybe aren't as healthy as it could be, right? Take care of your own health. Mentally carving time out to just like breathe. This idea of scrolling on social media constantly, of having to be available all the time. Your phone goes off. You're constantly like accessible. Shutting that off for a little bit and just being like
So far, what you've
is
shared
so important.
is directly.
I'm looking at you.
You could, yeah. Well,
I'm just kidding.
It's making a lot of sense to me
You
too.
have to slow down. It's too much for the mind and body. We're not supposed to process all of this stuff all the time in the environment that we're in. It's too much, and so I'm guilty of it all the time because I love to learn. So I'm constantly trying to find the next thing. Could be scrolling or whatever, but that's not okay for our bodies and our minds. And your body does keep score. It holds on to that. And you have to be able to let your nervous system just reset, rest, relax. And so I think some of it is just doing the small things that take care of yourself and recognizing when there's a trigger point to say, okay, things aren't going well. I need help. I need somebody to talk to. Finding that person that you're comfortable with, a mentor. And if it is serious enough that you need help, there's programs like calling 988, which you can call 24/7, just pound 988. And there's somebody on the other line to help you talk about anything that you have going on. If it's a mental health crisis, they'll help support you, provide the resources. It's all free. So, things like that. One, being aware of yourself, and then recognizing the signs in other people if you can. You have friends that are happy. Sometimes the happiest people are the ones that are the loneliest or the ones that are struggling the most. But giving space to say, how are you really doing? Like, talk to me really. What's really going on with you? I had no idea that my dad was in the place that he was.
Right.
And so, but looking back, I can see it now. At the time, you're just like, they're fine. They just need space. They're being quiet. But if that's a pattern that's not normal, just leaning in and asking and kind of being that listening ear is important. Yeah.
Well, that's good. And we'll put some of that information on the links and posts, and I'll put it, it's probably right here. There it is. But going back to a question that I had earlier about AI, AI and mental health, and you talked about scrolling and social media. I've recognized, I grew up in the 80s, early 90s, in my 20s, doing all kind of stuff, driving across the country. But now with my sons, I'm very anxious about them doing those things because of all the information that I have access to.
Yeah.
Because now that I have, all the streaming videos, all the news that we get is so accessible to us that now I'm more fearful of things than I wasn't fearful of before because I didn't have the knowledge, So it's like the more you remove yourself from that technology, and my wife has a nephew that's just left yesterday to go to Switzerland to spend 6 weeks in Switzerland to do more self-work. It's a very positive. He's fine mental health wise. He's just going because he wants to disconnect.
Yeah.
And he was telling his parents, I'm not going to take my phone. And they're like, no, you're taking your phone to Switzerland. Now, you're going to have a way. But he was at a point, even at 21, to want to disconnect, and I really respect that. And a shout out to Drew. Good job.
Drew.
Yeah. But
it's hard.
But AI and mental health, AI can help you have someone to talk to, but it also, you see stories where it hurts having someone to talk to. What is your thought on that, as far as being careful around?
I don't know if I have like a super strong feeling about AI and mental health. I don't love all of the social media piece. I'm not saying I'm anti-social media by any means, but I think that there's a safe way to use it, and then you also can get trapped into things that aren't true. Even now, just looking at pictures, you're like, is that AI? Is that real? Is that real news? How do you know? And it's getting so good that you have to be very careful about the information that you're discerning.
We're real.
We're real. I'm not. No, just kidding. But you have to be really careful about the information that you're absorbing, whether or not that's actually it's a factor, if it's AI. In the mental health space, maybe it can connect somebody to better treatment options. But I think it's person to person. It could be maybe it's a virtual assistant, virtual therapist. I don't know if we're quite there, but I don't know. I think connecting to people is important. Relationships are so valuable. And so, especially in the mental health space, the ability to have somebody to talk to. I'm actually participating in a walk that's coming up in June. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has an overnight walk. It's from like 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. And we walk, all night, talk about mental health. The connections and community that I have as part of that it's invaluable. So just being among people who are also going through similar things. We wear beads for the people that we've lost, the color. You need each other in this life. Doing life alone we weren't meant to do that. We were actually meant to have more community than what we actually have now.
Yeah, that's very, and we'll put some information about that walk as well in the link. So, of all the stuff that you've shared in leadership and in teams and oncology and mental health and moving to Nashville, what is something that a unique fun fact that people may not know about Amy Ware?
Oh, about me? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I never took my ACT or SAT. I think they just let me into college because they didn't have enough people enrolled. That's a fun fact. So when I was growing up, so neither of my parents finished high school. My mom finished 8th grade. My dad finished 10th grade. And I felt like the only way out for me was education, just from my environment and upbringing. I was like, I'm going to make sure I have more education than anybody in my family. I'm going to work as hard as I can. And that's the one thing that they couldn't take away, if that makes sense. Like the more you nobody can take away your education. You learn as much as you want. So there was a small branch campus in Marion, Ohio, and I was like, I'm going to try to enroll. I had no idea what to do. I took out way too many loans at the time when, you're 18 and you can sign a FAFSA form and you're like, $100,000, this is great. I can do whatever I want. And they just let me in. And I signed up to take my SAT or ACT, and I forgot my ID, and I just kept coming to school. And so by the time I finished the program, like finished my undergrad, and it was time to go on to my master's degree, they're like, "Where's your scores?" I'm like, "I don't have any scores. They just let me come to the program."
100.
It was 100. I scored an A+.
I scored 100 on both of those.
So
I just can't find
random.
the copy. Yeah.
That's a very random fact. Let's see. I was a cheerleader in school. I'm a yoga instructor, so I have my yoga certification.
Okay.
Actually, I did that during COVID because of, one, I couldn't provide any care. We had so many nurses in the hospital that were under so much stress and duress, and I felt like I couldn't do anything. I had really no value. I kind of, at that time, is what I felt, even though I know I did. But I thought if I got a yoga certification and I could teach the nurses, or I could do yoga classes with those nurses, or give them a little bit of reprieve during the day, that would be my contribution. And so that's what I did. And so I went back, got just on the side, and then started teaching classes at the hospital, which was so fun.
Wow.
I loved that. The nurses would come down, we'd do an hour yoga class, they'd get a break, just some mental health kind of.
I've never really,
great.
I think, given yoga a full effort.
It's your time.
I have maybe someone said try this, and I tried it. Like, I've never gone to a yoga class.
Really?
And I heard a good joke one time. A guy said, "I'm not a magician, but I once turned a yoga mat into just a regular mat."
It's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
I do love yoga.
So, which is a good segue into this next question. Where do you go? What are you doing? Where do you go to find laughter? What are you doing to make yourself laugh? What kind of comedy or things that make you laugh do you consume?
I love Theo Von.
You love Theo Von?
Yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. So I try to find things that are just silly, lighthearted. I watch a lot of documentaries that are fun. Anything that's comedy. We're meant to laugh. I will.
What's a favorite comedy movie? This is a good gauging question.
I love Step Brothers.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
All right,
I could watch that all day long. It's so fun.
I saw a text, a meme. It was a meme of a text back and forth of a guy and girl going out on a date. Okay. And she said, "Why aren't we going out again?" And she said, his quote was, "You didn't think Will Ferrell was funny."
He's hilarious.
And I asked you, "Have you seen Step Brothers?" And she said, "What is that?"
Yeah, so
and then he said, "I don't need to say anything else."
That's it. You gotta go. Sorry. Right.
But speaking of Theo Von in Nashville, if you go to
okay.
I'm sorry if people watch this, just go to it's a place he likes to go.
You need to stop. Is he there? Should we go now?
I'm
gonna
know
go
if he's
over.
there now.
Theo, are you there?
Well,
I love you.
About every time I go, he's there.
My husband and I we laugh so hard. You can hear him in the other room just like cackling, and I'm cackling. I'm like, "Are you watching this one?" I don't know. You have to have some joy.
So what would be a piece of advice? Because you've shared a lot about your upbringing and going to school and kind of the transitions. But if there's something that you look back on and go, you know what, if I'd had that advice, it would have benefited me in this way, and it would have helped me. And how could it help somebody else, maybe in their 20s navigating, or even in their career? Because I can kind of follow the stepping stones of your career and your path, and kind of you saw opportunities by helping others. I don't mean to lead any kind of answer you have, but what would be some advice that?
I don't know if it would have changed anything, because my upbringing was really difficult, more so than I've shared on here at all, and I recognize that a lot of people have really difficult paths to wherever they're at. Mine was through a lot of grit, worked really incredibly. Nothing was given. It was just really claws in, I'm going to do this. But what I think the biggest thing is, and I would tell myself, I guess this when I was younger, is there's going to be a lot of things that could make you mean and make you angry and make you hateful and make you bitter and a really bad person. I could have gone down that route. But instead, you don't have to choose that route. You can still be kind and loving. Even when life just beats you down and makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do anymore, you can still show up vulnerable and kind and thoughtful and have empathy and choose a different direction for yourself. I think it's all about how your mindset every day, how you wake up and what you choose. And so life could have just destroyed me, truly. And especially after my dad died, I had a 6-year-old cousin that was killed in a car accident right after that. And then my uncle died, our dogs died. It just was the worst experience. That it was a hard year. And instead, you just chose to do something different with that. What can I do to wake up and not go down the same similar path of depression or sadness? I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to figure out how to help people. And I think we all have that choice. You have to be able to say, this is the life I want to live, and I'm going to pursue that.
Well, I think that's great advice. And so before we wrap up, we're going to each get another You have
Are you
to
going to
get-
sandwich it? Are you going to put it in the middle, like the peanut butter in the middle, and then do 2?
You can't do it.
Okay. Let's do 2. You got to do it too, though.
All
I don't
right.
have a full one. If you're going to go for it, you got to go for the whole thing.
All right.
Okay. This is a big one. Look at this sandwich. Look how good this looks. But I don't have any icing.
Well,
Would you do red icing? Is that what your pick
I would do
was?
red icing.
Okay.
And it would look such like, this is not healthy.
That's all right. But enough to be healthy.
You eat, because I'm going to ask a question while you chew that so you can think on it. We're good. Who is it, alive or dead? Mm-hmm. Somebody that most people would know, like, you could say your cousin or your uncle, or but somebody that people would know, like a celebrity or somebody from history that you'd want to share a midnight snack with.
Frank Sinatra, maybe?
Really?
Yeah. That's random, right?
It's good. I mean,
I love music. I mean, that would be fun with the Rat Pack.
Frank Sinatra would be a good one. Yeah.
I don't know why my mind went there, but that just would be great. Like, just love the history of the music. And
In my list of people that I'd want to have midnight snack with, he was not one that I would think of, but he totally would be. But
who would be yours?
well, I've entered this before, so I can pick a different one. I've always said Elvis,
Oh, that would have been a good one too.
but
Yeah.
I think because the things I've read about Frank Sinatra, as much as I love his music and I listen to it a lot, I don't think he was a conversationalist. I think you had to be really tight with him to really.
Oh, we would be tight. This is part of it. Yeah.
You
For the
and
whole
him and
narrative, we're
Dolly.
like best friends. We all have.
Yeah.
We're sitting down. We have dinner together a lot. Like, we know each other
Yeah.
very well. So
Yeah.
it'd be really
Yeah.
easy for us to share this snack.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
you.
And thanks TMG for helping put this together, helping us make this happen. We're going to have information about TMG, what we do, more information about Amy, and looking forward to what your next thing is going to be.
Yes.
I have a feeling we might know, and you don't seem like somebody that's going to be sitting still for very long.
No, I've been consulting a bit, and I love that. And I've actually had some time to be with my family, which I love being home with my kiddo, and I'm thankful for that time. It goes by really quick. So we're doing all the things right now. But yeah, I'm getting ready to move into a new venture, so I'll be happy to share that soon.
Sure. Well, we'll repost this. I'm going to try to get this on in the next week or so. But whenever that happens, I'll add it.
Hopefully the bio's better. Hopefully there's something in that bio that's actually.
Oh, the bio's good.
good.
Bio's good.
Yeah,
Well, thanks
you.
so much
Thank
for
you.
being here, and maybe we'll cross paths stalking Dolly's house.
Tomorrow. And then Theo Vaughn next.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem. All right,
Great.
thanks everybody.
Thank you.
That worked out.
Let's go see Theo Vaughn.